welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the UMG Gaming Studio Championship Sunday for our UMG Champions Apex Legends Arena $10,000 Invitational. Hey, today's money is going to be made. We got $5,000 for first. It goes down from there, but either way, you want to be in the money. The top 8 teams qualified from group play yesterday. And I gotta say, man, it was a fun time. A lot of great matches. I'm Taylor Reflections, and I'm going to be your host for today. I was here yesterday, and so were these two fine gentlemen, Onset and Gaskin. They were here yesterday too, and they're back at it once again for Championship Sunday. Onset, great to see you.
It's always good to be here. What a day it was yesterday. It set us up beautifully for today. We all love a little bit of a Championship Sunday, right? It's got something about it, that a little bit of a ring to it. It means we're going to have some good games. Looking forward to seeing who comes out on top at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Gaskin, I'm looking forward to seeing you all day, or at least some parts of the day. How you feeling, brother? It's great to have you again.
Better now. See, you led it yesterday by saying how powerful Onset was and how weak and powerless I was, but now today you're trying to make it up to me. I see what you're trying to do.
I really am.
We casted together. We had that energy, and you know it's good. I like this start to the show. I feel a lot more comfortable and happy. I'm looking forward to it as I always am. I always enjoy watching arenas and seeing who can kind of step up. There's so many individual plays and talents that can always be on display here, and we had some teams really put on a show for us yesterday, and I'm sure they'll do even better here today.
You know, Gaskin, when I woke up, I literally had the intention of making you feel powerful. And I'm glad that point has already gone across in the first 30 seconds of the broadcast. Let's talk about our top 8 teams who did, in fact, make it from yesterday to today. On set, we've got a little mix of everything, man. CLG gave one of the most impressive performances, I think, from aggression standpoint yesterday. Even in loser bracket, Pittsburgh Knights, obviously playing with 2 premier members, 1 PK, but they're here for a reason going against Esports Arena. But I mean, seriously, we have, at least in my opinion, the best 8 teams we could possibly have.
I agree. I think the first 3 teams that we have on this graphic kind of are the ones to watch, right? Arena Demons, we know what they do. They probably have the most experience out of anyone in Arena's tournament. CLG were super impressive yesterday, like you mentioned, for their aggression, the way that they were winning all of those close quarter fights and inside and outside of those bubbles. Esports Arena, though, they were the standouts for me. I think they had a really good mix of aggression, but also a bit of knowledge on when to slow things down when they did lose a number. So look out for those 3 teams. For the rest of them, it's about taking them down.
It is, and Gaskin, I know there was a lot of jokes made about Johnsonville, but all jokes aside, Designful, Slurpee G, Gilderson, that is a talented trio.
Yeah, an extremely talented trio, and I think you could say the same about any of these 8 rosters. And even though there were question marks over a few of them before the tournament started yesterday, I was wondering how they were going to team up. Are they going to find as much success as they might find in a Battle Royale tournament, for example? But it does seem like everyone pulled it out yesterday, and we'll see whether they can get even better going into today.
I'll get even better. Let's see the matches these guys have before them. It's going to be an action-packed day starting in round 1. Esports Arena versus Pittsburgh Knights, then the Wingmen versus Johnsonville. Torrent will face CLG, and then Arena Demons against New Esports. Make it be known, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't join us yesterday, hey, the money will be made in semifinals. You get finished off in round 1. Well, you got close, but you didn't get close enough, unfortunately. It is going to be a great day of just nonstop action. Let us know in chat which matchup you're personally looking forward to, because I think we're going to have a chance to peek in on really several of them throughout the day. I think 2 at least round 1s. Maybe we'll get to see a third one depending on how that ends up flowing. It's best of 5, so it could in fact go the distance, even though I don't think we saw a single game 5 yesterday. But boys, there's a lot of teams, but I want to know your favorite teams. I want to know which teams you think are truly going to go the distance today and why. So let's bring it up. Which are our teams to watch? And I'm going to actually start off with Gaskin. Who are you looking forward to watching today?
See, now you're saying teams that I think can go the distance. That's really made me laugh. Sorry, I haven't seen that pop up before.
What?
I'm a little bit terrified about Taylor's face, so we're going to be honest.
Yeah, what's up with that?
But that's fine, as we can go on to that later. Anyway, this is my team to watch. This isn't necessarily a team I think is going to go far. I just think that there's a lot riding on this for Torrent. I think they have the capability to get all the way to the finals and win this competition, but they're going up against CLG, and we saw what CLG were able to do in the last game of the broadcast yesterday. But RKN, Euriece, and RamBeau, I mean, they had so much success in the ALGS playoffs recently. They came top 5, especially considering they had an awful start to Battle Royale when they first formed, but it seems like they found their chemistry now. And I think chemistry and cohesion is so important here in these arenas tournaments, so I've really got a keen eye on this squad.
Euriece was respected yesterday, not contested on the pill multiple times. He also had a beautiful play where he baited the damage to get the revive in round 1, and that was on RKN, I do believe it was. was. A wonderful job, seriously, from Torrent. They're going to be powerful today. Onset, I think I know who you're looking out for. Side note, by the way, I know my eyes, googly eyes, looking weird, but your face looking over Esports Arena, if you looked at me that way, I'm either running the opposite way or I'm grabbing something to hit you with.
I mean, it's understandable. It's a terrifying sight, right? But it's a fun fact about this graphic. That's actually a real shot of Dan stood behind a analyst desk when he doesn't have his box to stand on. That's actually what it looks like. But Esports Arena, Duplex, Noct, and Skittle Cakes. I mean, what is there to say, right?
Sure.
I kind of took a second to talk about them yesterday and give them the appreciation they deserve as a lineup. I think Noct has fit in really well onto this lineup as well. He's hitting some really good shots. We saw him with a vault in hand yesterday, especially making the entry frags after Skittle Cakes and kind of got the damage done playing on Pathfinder. I think they're the team to beat today, and that's why I've picked them. I think that anyone who manages to push them all the way, maybe even to a game 5, has had a good run, but I can see them coming out on top today.
I think they might. You know, Esports Arena is the team to beat. They are the returning champions, obviously without Verhulst now playing with Noct, but this trio, incredibly talented, and they are the returning champs for a reason. Undefeated yesterday, didn't drop a single map. For me, I'm looking for the team that I'm always looking for since their introduction in our, of course, our Apex Legends Arena Invitationals, and that is Arena Demons, Aiden, Ronnie, and R-Reeds. R-Reeds, a new addition to this roster, at least for this tournament, and he did not disappoint. One thing about Arena Demons that I truly enjoy and appreciate is Aiden. Aiden is so good and so versatile in the different legends that he uses, literally using 4 in the matchup versus Pittsburgh Knights yesterday. Rampart, Bang, Crypto, as well as Valkyrie. And you know what? That speaks volumes to me. I like the fact also the nerdy angles that they constantly bring up and drop. They're a tough team to beat because they're so versatile and they grind it. They're so used to seeing different looks. So they're good. Gaskin, hello. How are you doing? Nice to see you drop down a couple of pegs. I was trying to build you up, uplift you with the power.
That's fine. I got rid of my box and made sure that I was just at an appropriate height so that it would make Park more comfortable, because I don't want to emasculate him by standing on a box. He doesn't like it, so I'll go back to normal, make him feel better, make him feel powerful, because that's what this broadcast is all about nowadays, is how powerful Mark is. I'll just be a little man, and here we go. We'll go on. Yeah, you carry on. I'll be fine.
This is all you, Gaskin. I was trying to uplift you today. You're the one who put yourself down there. I mean,
uplifting, you say?
Hey,
we're back.
Oh,
wait,
no.
hold on. Look at this. No, that's not fair.
Come on,
this is a live. That's a live look at Dan Gaskin. That's what it is.
Oh no! Look at that little rat trying to crawl up.
Oh, bring him back up.
Gaskin.
There we go.
There you go. See, Onset even saying enough is enough, bro. Hey, it's going to be a good day. It's already starting off more wild than I was even expecting. But you know what? That's okay. That's okay. Let's talk, or let's at least look at our schedule. Like I said, it's going to be action-packed. We're starting off with Esports Arena, Pittsburgh Knights, Torrent, and CLG. From that point forward, semifinals, and grand finals. Obviously, at that point, we don't know the matches because Destiny is within their hands. We're going to have to see who wants to win it more today. Doesn't matter about yesterday, even though it was impressive from some teams. Today is where everything is going to be tidied up. So let's talk about it, boys. Our first matchup of the day, Esports Arena, playing against Pittsburgh Knights. ESA obviously being a team that Onset was looking out for. Pittsburgh Knights, a roster that is incredibly talented. You've got Ronnie, you got Crook, you got Asura, who played really well yesterday for what it's worth. But going against the top dogs, not going to be easy, Gaskin.
No, it's not going to be easy. I think it's going to come down to what maps are played first. I think that we know which maps we're going to see for the most part because we saw them every single time yesterday. We didn't see the new map kick in. We didn't see Habitat be a part of the broadcast yesterday. Maybe it'll be a curveball. Maybe it'll be something that someone throws in today to try and be a little bit different. But Esports Arena certainly looked more comfortable yesterday than the Pittsburgh Knights. So we'll see what the maps look like and whether there is going to be a real opportunity for them to do something. So Overflow to kick things off. The only map we saw Pittsburgh win against Arena Demons yesterday was Thermal Station. So with that coming up second, I guess that gives them a good opportunity. And Encore is going to feature third, as well as Habitat in fourth. So this is not our standard series layout here, Taylor.
Not at all, but honestly, I'm here for it. You know, this is the day to bring out those wild cards, specifically Habitat 4. You mentioned Pittsburgh Knights, great success on Thermal Station. ESA, they haven't dropped the map yet. They went undefeated yesterday. Granted, they only played 2 series. That's all you had to win, but 2 impressive series nonetheless. Today, if they do go to that map 4, I'm very curious how that one's going to play out. And I'm also curious, I don't think we can get an answer, but who ended up picking that. But regardless, though, that was the wildcard map we were expecting to see. Onset, any opinions on the 5 maps before you?
Well, it's certainly going to make it for an interesting series and also make it a little bit more unpredictable. And I'm hearing in my ear it was actually Knights who picked Habitat 4.
Beautiful.
So maybe they're thinking, hey, if we can get through those first 2 games and we're still in the series and we haven't been completely pushed to one side, then we've got Encore, which is a little bit of a wild card in itself, followed by Habitat 4. So I like the idea and the thinking behind it from Knights. We'll have to see how it plays out, though, because I don't know how much experience either team has on either of these maps.
Yeah, it's true. We don't know, simply put. I mean, today we're going to get a lot of, at least a magnifying glass, if you will, on certain rosters, ESA being one of those who we didn't really get to see yesterday, PK kind of the same. You know, there was just a hodgepodge. We had so many matches taking place. But Pittsburgh Knights, my only concern is I just need to see a little bit more help in terms from Ronnie. I know Ronnie was clutching up consistently yesterday, doing a beautiful job doing so. Today he's going to be challenged. The rest of the boys need to kind of back him up. You got 2 Premier members, 1 Pittsburgh Knight member, but for ESA, you got the roster. That just simply works in the meantime. But for you, Gaskin, specifically for PK, as opposed to yesterday to today, what do you need to see at least occur a bit differently?
I don't think you can allow the other team to kind of dictate the pace here. So many times throughout yesterday, we saw one team in control, always taking the initiative, always being the more positive side, looking to take angles, looking to try and be the difference maker rather than sitting back, turtling and waiting for something to happen just because you feel like you've got circle or you feel like you can hold an angle and you can just go for a little pop-off war from either side and hope to deplete their resources. I don't think you can allow that to happen with any of these teams. They're too smart, they're too good, and they're always going to be looking to try and push you. And Esports Arena are a team who's fearless. So you've got to make sure that they actually are scared to push you, because right now they're not going to be. I don't think they're going to fear anyone that in any of these matches. But if you can, go into map number 1 and go toe-to-toe with them, actually show that you can outshoot them, you can beat them in those 3v3s, they're going to be a little bit more reluctant to just rush in willy-nilly and push unnecessarily.
Russian, I think that's a great point. Onset Skittlecakes yesterday was very aggressive on overflow in map number 1, and he was getting punished by Mutarium multiple times. In fact, Mutarium took a 2-0 lead at that point in time. So is that something maybe we could see Pittsburgh Knights capitalize on in map 1?
I think it's the key to any game against ESA at the moment is if you can neutralize Skittlecakes, which is probably one of the hardest things that you can be asked to do with the way that he's playing at the moment, you'll probably win the round because he's going to give you the opportunity to either pick up the first kill in the game and give you numbers, or he's going to be the player who gets it for Esports Arena, or at least gets the damage, which is going to create the opening. So that's going to be the battle, that upfront battle, the Pathfinder. I don't know who's going to be playing on Pathfinder for Knights, but on that side, it's going to be, you have to match
Asura.
it. And it's this thing as well, right? Asura is going to have to hit the shots that Skittlecakes does. We talk about strategy, we talk about all this, but again, going back to the basics, sometimes it's just about who wins that fight and who deals more damage.
Absolutely, does more damage. And right now, ESA seems to be the front runner for that. But Pittsburgh Knights might have something up their sleeve, depending. That right side, at least right or left side, depending on where you spawn, that pill has been getting a ton of attention. I think more so now than before, because Mozambique obviously not being in place. So more aggression on overflow, much more than we're used to seeing. Boys, we got to back up one horse in this race. We've got two to decide on. We got ESA, we have PK. Gaskin, we'll start with you. Who are you going for?
I think the logical decision here is Esports Arena with how they were performing yesterday. I'd love to go for an outsider pick and say that PK can take this one. And I think, on any given day, they probably can take this one. But
sure,
as Mark alluded to, you've got to shut down Skittlecakes. I think that's very difficult to do. So for that reason, I'm going to go ESA.
All right, Onset, what about you?
I'm going ESA as well, and I like the picks and the maps from Knights as well. I think they're trying to throw a little bit of a curveball in there and maybe think they maybe have a bit of experience on them. But at the same time, when you have an unknown, you look at team chemistry, right? And you've got 3 players who are playing together a lot in Esports Arena. They're a full team against a team who is 2 players from Premier and 1 from Knights. So are they going to be able to have that cohesion on a map where you're just going to kind of have to find chemistry if you haven't played much of it? I don't think so. So I think Esports Arena certainly have the advantage going into this one.
Fair enough. Chat, what about you? ESA, PK? ESA has to be the heavy favorite, and they will be the heavy favorites. Like I always say, when everybody goes for one team, now it's up to the other team, Pittsburgh Knights, to prove us all wrong. You have the ability to do so. And I agree with you, Onset. I think for these 5 maps, Pittsburgh Knights did their due diligence, maybe their research, and I think they picked, 5 maps that really could work for them in this series. Overflow, we talked about, Skittlecakes obviously being overly aggressive there, maybe something to capitalize on. That is also a map that they went 4-2 on. Granted, they won it, but still, though, they had more struggles than, the other times. And then, of course, you also have Habitat 4, which was chosen by Pittsburgh Knights, a wild card that they threw out there that maybe they're familiar with. Gaskin, you mentioned Thermal Station, obviously, maybe going to favor Pittsburgh Knights, or if not favor them, give them a great chance to win. Those are the first two maps, and then you have Habitat Map 4. There could be a chance Pittsburgh Knights walks away with the series 3-1. And if that was the case, Pittsburgh Knights would absolutely be the team to beat really everybody, right? For everybody's perspective, because you beat the champs. You're looking to be the champs, and that's what Pittsburgh Knights is looking to do. But this is a money match, as well as one of the biggest matches, I think, in rounds number 1. But it's going to be a great day, and chat, keep the conversation alive. We loved having you yesterday. Today is going to be even better. Onset Gaskin, we're loading into the map, so boys, take it away.
Well, here we go then, the first match of the day, and this is what we've been waiting for, Dan. I know you've been as excited as I am to get back on the mic today to talk through some of these games. Yesterday was a lot of fun, right? Yesterday we had a good time, and we've started off in the right kind of mood today as well, I think, even though you may have been the butt of the jokes and putting smiles on people's faces, but we're back together, brother. We're here together. We're going to make this work. We're not going to have any beef between us today. It's going to be all about the gameplay. Esports Arena, you have to say, coming into this, are the favorites.
That felt like a virtual cuddle. I'm all like warm and fuzzy.
I hope it did.
I feel a lot better.
That's what it was meant to be.
Arena, they're the favourites, but when you look at the performance on stream yesterday when they went up against Mutineers, Mutineers is an entirely different team and game, but against Mutarium, they didn't look confident. They didn't look amazing. They're winning it 4-2 in every single map, and they were dropping rounds that they probably shouldn't have. And I feel like a lot of that was just laziness. And I think on Skittlecake's part, sometimes overconfidence. And I would like to see a little bit more of a practice and well-drilled ESA here if they are going to march confidently into those semi-finals. Otherwise, the Pittsburgh Knights will take advantage of maybe some of that overconfidence, maybe catch Skittlecakes off guard, and maybe they won't let those rounds slip through their fingers like we saw Mutarium do, because there was times when Mutarium had a 2-0 lead, they let it slip, ESA came back into it, they won 4-2, it was rinse and repeat. PK can't allow that to happen. They've got to focus up and win those rounds when they have the opportunity to get the map.
I think that's a huge point that's going to be made in this game. Can you clutch up in the rounds where you have the advantage? That's what Knights are going to have to do, because you know that ESA are going to be flying across the map and trying to get that initial damage, especially coming in from Skittlecakes. But a lot of focus on Skittlecakes, understandably, for the work that he was doing on Pathfinder yesterday. But I raised the point yesterday, Dan. It's one thing to play like that if you're on Pathfinder and get that initial damage. You need your teammates, though, to be there to make sure they can convert either into a first knock or to keep you alive.
A lot of that comes down to communication as well. You've just got to be giving every little small comm you can to your teammates. Very easy just to say, oh, there's a guy who's weak over here, one shot in this direction. Let them know where you're pushing, what you're trying to get. And again, Skittlecakes will be first to the prize. He does escape with it. Ronnie's not going to try and contest him on this occasion, but at least he's able to get away, as Asura's got to be careful.
Yeah, look at that cover, though. That's the point I was trying to make, right? Skittlecakes gets in, has his shields broken. That's fine. Managed to get the meds away, and then Duplex is there watching his cross so that he's got time to heal. Ronnie and Asura already going to have their shields broken as well. Crook's trying to do exactly what was being done to Knights a few seconds ago by providing that cover fire, but you can now see everybody's backed up a little bit here. Volt in the hand of Noct again yesterday, and this man was nasty with it. There's 83 flesh damage already coming in from Noct.
And that might be enough information just for the rest of the team to push, but ESA is saying, no, actually, we'll have a care package instead. Let's see what goodies can help us win this round nice and comfortably. They're playing this one smart. They're waiting for the right moment to pounce, and I think they might have caught Asura with very little shield here. Here comes the collapse.
Good push again from Skittlecakes, but no knock still for Knights. However, the bubble is down, and that means the push is going to be initiated here. It looks like they've managed to hold off for now. Duplex down on the low ground, takes a little bit of damage himself. Crook finally goes down. Ronnie will fall. Azura left on his own, and ESA with a perfectly timed push. Nobody goes down, and they get that first round on the board.
And that could have been so different if Skittlecakes had, he'd grabbed that pill and then decided to keep going forward and be aggressive and try and take an angle. But as soon as he received at least one bullet in his side, he instantly retreated. He instantly got back to the rest of the team. They had the high ground. They had map positioning. They were winning the poke war as well with the amount of damage they were doing. And they had more resources because of the pill that Skittlecakes had been able to grab. So after they were able to get the care package as well, it was all pointing towards an ESA round. And PK were really struggling. They were on the back foot. And even though they did some good damage and they were able to have a little bit of a scrap in that bubble, of course it wasn't going to work out for them. And into round 2, Esports Arena will be feeling nice and confident.
Skittlecakes grappling forward already with a frag ready to be deployed in his hand as well. Not going to be quite as aggressive as we saw yesterday, though. As you can see, he's just taking his time to maybe line something up, maybe trying to bait out some of those players, and it is going to be the bait. You can see the Crook on the right-hand side here of Ronnie took a lot of damage from that frag grenade. Asura trying to poke up as well, but he's got an arc star to deal with. So all of a sudden, Knights on the back foot already, and already one player being forced to jump into the void.
The void, and that leaves the other two, of course, exposed. Bubble will come down to give a little bit more cover and straight in with the melees just to ensure that this damage is done. Skittlecakes gets the opening knock, and now Esports Arena, it's just about cleaning up at this point. And oh my goodness gracious, the aim I've just seen, the spin and turn, the snap and pop, whatever you want to do. There's some sort of serial that's relevant to that. But 2-0, Esports Arena looking good.
Very, very impressive. That's 2 rounds in a row now where it's been 6-0 in kills, basically. Knights have not managed to get any player down as yet, and it was the initial damage being done. This time it was Skittlecakes taking a little bit more time to just prepare that frag grenade and make sure that it was timed perfectly to get the initial damage, and then when they got that push down, the bubble was perfect to give the cover, and then it's just a case of collapsing and hitting those final shots, and it's just been almost, surgical from Esports Arena. They're on match point, they're on map point. Not match point, I'm getting ahead of myself ever so slightly here. Map point, as Asura early on here might have accidentally jumped into the void, we'll say.
I'd hope so, unless he's just trying to gain a little bit of... No, I can't explain it. Well, there's going to be one knock though. Skittlecakes will be taken down by Ronnie, so Esports Arena on the back foot now. Need to try and do something with just the two of them, and there is going to be a knock in reply by Knock, but Duplex is going to be left on his own.
Duplex up on that high ground, going to drop onto Crook. If he can get this knock without taking too much damage, there might be an opportunity, but no, Knights make the most of the opportunity presented to them. It was looking a little bit scary there, but again, there's the ups and downs of aggression, right? Skittlecakes tries to fly in, get that early kill to maybe catch them off guard by, thinking, oh, we got to play a little bit slower here because we're on map point, but it's actually going to be Knights who take advantage of that push coming in. They get the numbers, and they make the most of it.
That's what we were highlighting right before the game started, is you can take down Skittlecakes when he's exposed and he's on his own, then you're going to put yourself in a 3 versus 2. It sounds simple, but we saw how difficult it is in those opening 2 rounds when Skittlecakes has the right amount of cover and he's got the right angle and he isn't going to be exposed to as many shots from different directions. So Skittlecakes just needs to be a little bit more careful, but when they're 2-0 up, he probably felt like he was more free to go for something more experimental and ensure that he tried to do something different for the team.
Well, interestingly, Asura's going to use the ability to jump into the void once more, maybe just across without taking any damage, and I kind of like the idea of it, to be honest with you. Not presenting himself and not giving any opportunity for damage to be dealt on the other side by Esports Arena, and you can see Knights already having the HP advantage. Crook did have to pop a few meds just to get back to having full shields, but now the push is going to come in from Skittlecakes. A little bit of hip fire again with the flatline, not quite connecting in the way that he would have wanted to, but at least pushing those players back.
Let's check out this way.
Looking at the circle, it's going to be fairly even. I don't think the circle can even come into play here, which it very rarely does on this map. If I'm honest, as Knocked will be using that fault to his best ability. Esports Arena have got a little bit of high ground, and Ronnie might get caught out if he's not careful, but look how reluctant Skittles is to push in without the assistance of his team.
Yeah, you can see a good decision being made again. You overcommit, and all of a sudden, you find yourself in trouble, and that's what's going to happen here. Skittlecakes tries to grapple up. Asura has the Havoc just locked onto him after that audio cue pops up. And now Esports Arena find themselves down 1 number. 2v3 here for them to try and turn around.
This is so different to yesterday as well. Esports Arena, who were down 2-0, now find themselves up 2-0, but it looks like they're going to throw this one away, or are they? Knocked is going to be in a battle, but will get taken out in the end, and Knights tie this one up 2-2. And Esports Arena just not able to quite close it out in that 3-0 or 3-1 fashion, and we know full well that things get a little bit more difficult, because it's so different these early rounds when you don't have as many credits to work with, as then when we move into rounds 5, 6, and even 7, that's when you get so much more to work with. You've got more shields, your armor's going to be, of course, better, because you're going to have the opportunities to use those batteries more often, you have more resources to work with, so you really just want to try and get it done in the early stages, and we do see some teams who are better early stage fights than they are at latter stage fights. Some people are better with iron sights than they are with the 2 times or the 4 times, whatever you want to use, but of course you can have more available to you in these later rounds.
Well, it's been a really good response here, and we've seen kind of both sides of the Skittlecakes coin, so to speak, on Pathfinder, haven't we? Moments of brilliance at the start, and then just getting caught out with a little bit of over-aggression in the last 2 rounds, which Knights have managed to take advantage of. Skittlecakes already going to be slowing this down, understandably so. Now has a 2 to 4 times to work with as well, and you mentioned now how the economy can start to influence rounds. Well, even just having that scope down makes a difference.
Yeah, it really does make a difference, and the other team, for Knights here, they seem to have found a little bit of recipe to success, and it does mean just sometimes hiding away and waiting for Skittles to jump in, as he does, but there is at least the trade.
Trade comes in immediately. Crook goes down as well. Asura, last player alive, and Duplex and Noct have already managed to melt his shields away. Now it's just HP to play with. Duplex tries to cross. The Mastiff isn't going to hit hard enough. There was just single digits popping up at the end, and that will be Esports Arena getting the round that they needed just to restore a little bit of parity here and put themselves back onto map point.
It's almost like Knights are just dangling that bait and waiting for Skittlecakes to actually push in and then take advantage of him being exposed when he does. And even though Skittlecakes, I mean, it looks great from his POV, right? He slid down, he's done the damage, he did get the trade at the very least. That could have so easily gone wrong if the rest of the team weren't there to clean things up and they weren't all on the same page. But on that round in particular, Esports Arena, they were clicking, the chemistry was there, and thankfully they were there to rescue Skittlecakes after he dive-bombed headfirst into the Pittsburgh Knights. But Esports Arena find themselves once more on map point.
Jump pad down this time, which means that all of Esports Arena are going to be beating Premier to the punch as far as getting the map control, you would imagine. You can see that they have managed to do that. And look at those shots coming in now from Skittlecakes. Big damage being done, but not going to be able to convert into an initial knock. Now it is, though, and look at the kills falling. Asura, it looks like he's been caught in the headlights here of Esports Arena. Duplex is going to be able to finish this one off with a little bit of hip fire, and Esports Arena will take your first map of the series.
Esports Arena, they love a 4-2, it would seem, but it doesn't matter if they go 2-0 up or 2-0 down, they just managed to close it out in 4, so they'll be happy with that. It's a nice way to start off not just this series, but the day. It just reassures them that, yeah, okay, we are the real deal, we're not going to be able to be taken down too comfortably here, because there were rounds where they probably feel like they weren't even at their best there, but they still were able to find success, and that's always going to be what is a true sign of a champion, is even though when you're playing okay and reasonable, you still find those victories, and then later on in the tournament, that's when you truly step up. That's when we start to see them at their best. But Pittsburgh Knights will have noticed a few things and say, hey, okay, we can expose them, we can suddenly find a kill onto Skittles, and if we do get that kill, the round is so different. So that's clearly going to be their focus for these next couple of maps.
I really like how the game actually developed and the game plan developed from Esports Arena as well. We saw early on in the first couple of rounds, it was all about aggro, right? Getting as close as possible, trying to close the gap and getting that first knock. But as soon as they got a little bit of economy on their side, then it was about using the scopes, right? You saw the 2 times, the 2 to 4 come in as well, and then they were just a little bit slower. And if you're playing against that, Dan, it's so difficult to kind of adapt to the pace changes, right? Because you might think, oh, we've got to get up the map here, we've got to try and stop Skittlecakes getting halfway before we do. And then all of a sudden you're getting caught by someone just hard scoping and you're taking that damage. It's difficult to play against when someone's so willing to adjust on the fly.
There's a lot of like minor things that you have to pay attention to in arenas, and that was why when we saw the Q from Asura with the Wraith, I was trying to think, like, is he doing it to maybe avoid some grenades coming across the map? Is he doing it to avoid some sight lines? I think in the end it probably was an accident, but my brain was going, there must be a reason, because there is so much to think about at times with arenas. I know it is very core, it's just about hitting your shots and winning the fight, but the best arena teams always find those extra little margins, and you know, it starts with legend selection, then it comes to starting strategies, then it comes to actually where you're going to hold when you get to the middle of the map, and then of course buying the weapons and whatever you want to spend your credits on. So there's a lot to think about at its very deepest, but at its core, of course, we know team fights is where it's all at. The thermal station is going to be map number 2 here. This was where I said I think maybe Pittsburgh will have their best chance, Mark, because they were able to take down the Arena Demons on this one, and that's no easy feat. We know how good the Arena Demons are, so if you can do it against them, why can't you do it here against the ESA?
It's a very, very good question, and one we're going to have to find out the answer to in just a few moments as we do load into our map in just a few seconds. But I think it's Thermal's always an interesting one for me because it feels like the circle is very influential, right? And a few times we see teams get trapped in that bottom structure, and if you don't have a gibby, you don't have a way to escape, it can be your downfall. But on the opposite side of that, sometimes teams get baited in by that. They're like, oh, they're all trapped in here. Maybe we can have a little bit of a poke, and then they get caught by 2 players, hard aiming down their sights to get that initial damage done, and you get that knock. So it's kind of an interesting one for me. I don't think any other maps kind of play like Thermal Station do with that central structure.
Yeah, especially, and the rings do play more of a part than most other maps. Like, very rarely do you see a ring actually going all the way down to the last circle, whereas we've seen it numerous times here on Thermal, because you have buildings to hide in, whether that be the dome or whether that be the central structure. When it comes to the central structure, there's so many teams who do just hide in it, because even though you think you're on the back foot, if you play it correctly, you can force yourself out one of the exits where you're probably going to be taking a 3 versus 1 or a 3 versus 2. Very rarely is a team going to stand outside of that central structure and watch just one doorway, because then you just let the other team run out the other side. You naturally want to trap them in, so you all take angles. And if you play it correctly when you're inside, as you say, with a Gibby bubble, actually it can be sometimes a really good strategy, but you really have to time it correctly and you have to all be on the same page completely. But we'll see whether we can see something different from the Pittsburgh Knights. Are they going to go for similar strategies to what they did against the Arena Demons yesterday, or are we going to see ESA play in a completely different manner which won't allow them to do so?
We're going to have to find out in just a few seconds. As we say, we're loading into our second map now, and it is going to be Esports Arena who do have that map advantage. Remember, if you're just joining us today as well and you want to know what the series is going to play out like, it is best of 5s today. So if they do get this map on the board, then they'll only be one map away from closing things out, and we do have those 2 wildcard maps coming up as well. So now we'll see the first round, and we're going to see where the first zone is. It looks like we're pulling towards that stage over to the right hand side, I think it is, of Knights, where they find themselves at the moment, but immediately inside of that central structure with the wingman in the hands of Ronnie. So
they do have the Gibby, do Esports Arena. Duplex might be a key factor on the outside, but it's more about the inside. Asura's getting caught out, has tried to escape and get away from the rest of the team, just has to be a little bit careful, as there's going to be the opening damage, and who else but Skittlecakes, and it is that Pathfinder versus Pathfinder battle you were talking about.
Yeah, Mr. First Blood is what we're calling Skittlecakes right now, and here he comes again. He's looking for the second. He's going to get taken down, though, by the P2020. Crook has an opportunity here maybe to clutch, but no, there's still 2 players who have the angles. Nox was pretty much full shield through all of it. Esports Arena, again, after the opening pick from Skittlecakes and the follow-up damage, have a fairly comfortable round.
Well, Asura tried to escape the central structure when the rest of the team had kind of dived into it, and then that allowed, I think, the opening for Esports Arena to say, look, there's only one player in there. Skittlecakes only needs that shout to come at any point, and if he knows he's in a 1v1, he's going to take it. To be fair, you put him in a 1v2, he's probably going to take it as well.
Yeah.
He's one of those players that's just terrifying to play against, but a nice team-oriented structure that we've just seen from Esports Arena, where they kind of push one player, then they push the next, and they were all focusing the right legend. We'll see whether they can build more momentum off this.
This time we're going towards the dome, and it's going to be Knights who have the jump pad, so they're going to have the advantage about getting position. They will have the high ground, but as we've seen before, Dan, having that height doesn't guarantee you anything, really, when you're playing around the dome, when you do have the ability to maybe focus on one player and get that bubble down to climb up without taking damage. But for now, you can see Knights also taking damage themselves. Crook taking down to pretty much no shields. A Skittlecakes already trying to climb up on his prey.
And this is one of the most different things that we've seen from teams trying to approach the situation. I think yesterday we saw Arena Demons get caught out in the middle, and they slowly just waited for the ring to come in and went for a last-ditch attempt. However, Esports Arena have taken their opportunity really early to get underneath Knights here, because they say, let's not just leave ourselves exposed in a point where we can just be drilled from every single angle and allow Knights to control this game. Instead, let's push our way slowly and slowly towards them, and now they've taken the second floor here.
So Knights have the roof, and like you mentioned, Esports Arena with that second floor. Skynate's going to be coming in here as well. Let's see if they do any damage and maybe force a player down. There is the Arc Star. It's going to take a few seconds though, but the entry opportunity is already created. Crook and Ronnie there taking damage. There's the Arc Star stun as well. Skittlecakes gets that first knock. It's not been answered back quite as yet. Asura only has around 15 HP. He is taken down, and again, it's just beautiful chemistry coming in from Esports Arena. Every single player is playing their role perfectly, and it's resulting in these round wins.
There's strategy there, and then the strategy is executed flawlessly from Esports Arena right now. They just need to make sure that they kill this game off here and now. Don't give Knights a chance back into this game by doing something a little bit stupid. Or I know you want to put on a show and you want to entertain and you want to have fun, but at the same time, this is a team that knows they can win this tournament, and they'll want that extra cash in their pocket. And to do so, they have to be a team that doesn't allow others to just walk back into a game by, you know, making unnecessary pushes and trying to have fun or whatnot. Just have fun by winning. Some people have entirely that method. Not me. I don't win very often. Anyway, we are going to see Knights actually doing some damage from a distance.
You played with me. You know that I don't have fun unless we're winning. It's as simple as that. But Skittlecakes, he's going to have the 2-4 on the Havoc. And I did see a triple take in the hands of Asura here. So a little bit of a change up in technique and tactics maybe coming in from Knights to try and find a way back into things here. And the triple take, we know it's not just about hitting the long range damage as well. It's about that up close and ability to change it into almost like a micro shotgun, even though it's a a little bit bigger than a micro shotgun, but here comes the push now from Skillcakes again. Duplex is going to work with him. The first knock again goes to Esports Arena, and at the moment, Knights just look like they don't really have an answer to the aggression that's coming in.
Yeah, they can use that bubble as well that went down, and now Knights are going to be in a 2 versus 3. Shields are going to be able to put right back up for Esports Arena, and this should be the map, and this should be the round, realistically, unless we see something special from either Asura or Ronnie at this point. But they're separated, and that's going to be difficult for them, because Skillcakes is on the prowl, dipping towards them at the moment.
Yeah, Skillcakes doesn't care. He just saw him holding W, just creating the space for his team, and that means it creates a 2v1. Knights know it's done. Azura's going to have to go crazy, but no, look at this! Skillcakes with a little wall jump, and maybe just trying to finish things off in style here. He's going to punch him out. He's going to get the win. Esports Arena, confidence personified. They win your map number 2.
But they just had an idea of how they wanted to play every single circle, as it were, there. Even though some teams are so quick to go over towards the kind of dome building, they instead said, look, let's not rush over to it. Let's not try and race them where it's just going to become an absolute massacre on top of that building where we can maybe get bombarded with shots whilst we're zipping across or whether we're jumping across. Instead, let's just slowly walk up. Let's use the objects that are on the map to hide behind. And if we can get underneath them, then we can slowly maneuver our way and take that fight because they're so confident when it comes to those 3v3s.
So Esports Arena up by 2. The question is, can Premier/Knights turn this one around when we get back from the break? We'll find out in just a few moments. But at the moment, it's looking like ESA are on their way to another win.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the UMG Champions Apex Legends Arena $10,000 Invitational. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Onset and Gaskin. Well, this series is going about how I at least foresaw it happening. I mean, if that's a word, foresaw. I don't know. I know that's a word. I don't know if it's a proper word. But regardless, though, it looks like ESA is dominating the competition like they did yesterday, like they did last tournament, to the point where they are just cruising through, and I don't know if they're breaking a sweat on set.
No, it's looking very comfortable for them, and it's very easy to do when you've got a player who's making so many big plays at the start of rounds, right? I keep talking about Skillcakes, and I'm going to keep talking about him because he's not only getting in and getting first bloods a lot of the time, but if he gets a huge amount of damage, he's getting away with his life, and that's almost as important as getting that first knock, right? And it's just making things so comfortable for them. Thermal Station look very easy. Encore, though, might be a little bit different. This is the map picks now that favor Knights. They're the ones that kind of put Encore in there. They put Habitat 4 in there, so
Sure.
They're going to have to prove to us why they did exactly that.
Yeah, I mean, any thoughts why that would be, Gaskin? Why would Pittsburgh Knights feel comfortable on Encore? I know we can't really have a discussion about Habitat 4. We haven't seen it just yet played at all throughout the tournament. But Encore, I mean, have you seen anything that indicates why PK would feel comfortable there?
No, they're just trying to find something that Esports Arena aren't comfortable on. I think they're just going for something that Esports Arena won't be as well versed and well practiced. But I think that if anyone is going to have played these maps more than the others, it's probably Esports Arena and Arena Demons. So it's a difficult one. You're like, yeah, I'll take them out of their comfort zone, but how much do you actually know about playing Encore? How much do you know about Habitat? That's my worry, because even though we've had Encore in previous tournaments and we have seen these teams play on it a little bit more than Habitat, for example, I still don't think this is necessarily going to be a comfortable map pick for PK. It is literally just out of left field, them going for something a little bit different, hoping that the map will favour them on the day, and it's all going to come down to team shot and chemistry, and they've been losing those fights. So I think I'm still going with Esports Arena probably 3-0ing this one.
I think you have to. I'm really worried about the mentality from a humanistic standpoint for Pittsburgh Knights heading into map number 3, because they just got off the back of map 2 where they didn't get a single elimination as an entire team, to the point where Skillcakes was literally dancing in front of them and not even trying to finish them off to get the win. And not to mention as well, in Overflow, they were up 2-0. And again, Pittsburgh Knights at that point in time still hadn't got a kill. Obviously, they come back, bring it 4-2, but they still end up losing. So Pittsburgh Knights, that mentality, they've got to get the winner's mentality. They got to be savages out there. So Onset, Gaskin, let's see if they turn into savages or if this series ends in a 3-0.
Well, I think at the moment, Esports Arena are looking like savages. It has been nothing short of confident and clean gameplay from them. I haven't seen a mistake been made, to be honest with you. Even the rounds where they lost, it was a kind of them throwing away around a little bit, or maybe just not getting that first knock that could have gone their way. It wasn't too much really going against them. And now that we move over to a map that we haven't seen so far, you have to feel that Premier picked this for a reason, and they wanted to try and mix things up, like you said, but I just think with the cohesion that we're seeing at the moment from Esports Arena, it's going to be a tough one to get back into this series.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why we've not seen it in this tournament. Clearly, it's not a favourite pick for anyone, really, and if it was a favourite pick for PK, they would have chosen it yesterday, which they didn't. This is very much just trying to get Esports Arena out of what they would assume is going to be a comfortable map for them, but I'm fairly certain we saw Esports Arena on this last time we had a UMG Invitational all those months ago, so it's not like they don't know how to play it. They most likely have practiced on it, will have strategy. Are they going to have something innovative? Are they going to have something new? That remains to be seen. But we'll see whether Knights have got something up their sleeve here. I hope they do. I would love to see us get into a proper series and it not be a complete blowout.
Yeah, maybe they know something that we don't. We'll have to find out if that is the case, but Noct is going to be trying to push up already with the Vault in his hand once more, but they do know something. Asura catches him on the cross, and I think that wasn't just Asura, I think that was Teamfire, because Noct just got absolutely decimated, and he will also be finished off as well.
I'm not sure how much he knew about that. That would have scared the life out of me and probably scared the life out of him as well. He's absolutely drilled there, but Esports Arena in a 2 versus 3 have done some damage from distance. Skittlecakes are on board with, of course, who can win fights like this, but he's taking too much damage, you have to assume. Duplex and him are trying to hold some sort of cross right now, but it's not going to be enough. And Knights will get an opening here. They will get the first round, and there is a slight glimpse of maybe some hope here for the PK.
That is what we call a foothold, then. Getting back into a series has to start somewhere, and that's 1 foot on the ladder. But this from Noct, I mean, it was just Asura. I mean, he just fell over. It's as simple as that. He got absolutely decimated in the back by the flatline. And then it was Asura who did a really good job here of actually managing to play his life, because Skittlecakes did get him down to pretty much like barely any HP, and if he could have got that knock with the bubble down as well, there was an opportunity maybe to make a play for Esports Arena, but Knights, they managed to hold tight, and they managed to get that final little bit of damage that they did require, as Esports Arena now find themselves down by 1.
They're probably saying, Noct, whatever you just did in that round, don't do it again, right? Just don't allow that to happen. Wherever you were, we don't go there anymore. That is not a part of the map that we want to be featuring whatsoever. Skittlecakes will get the opening resources, so plenty of bats to work with. He can spread them out to the rest of the team, but he's taking a lot of damage, so he's have to use one nice and early here. Look how confident PK look. They are always looking to try and take angles here. This is not how confident they were on the other maps, so maybe they are a little bit more familiar here.
Skynet's coming in from Asura, and I think I agree with you. They look much more comfortable. Esports Arena kind of trying to find their way around the map at the moment and try and find the angles that they want to play. Pings are coming in to try and spot out where the players are. Well, look at this position here from Ronnie. He has some free shots, but can't quite connect with that wingman. And those kind of shots, if you hit them, all of a sudden things look a little bit different. But now he has a flank. There's some big shots coming in. There's 90 damage into the back of one player. Crook loses his shields, and Crook is very, very weak as well. Ronnie now getting pushed very, very aggressively, and Esports Arena seem to have the advantage.
So many different fights happening at the moment, but still no knocks have happened. Finally, there is going to be the melee kill into the knock, and Asura falls. Knock goes down on the other side. Skittlecakes is going to be the last remaining player against Ronnie here. So a 1 versus 1, both at full shields, but extra health on the side of Ronnie.
Pathfinder versus Pathfinder. Skittlecakes is going to take the opportunity to challenge and get up close and personal. No surprise to see that, but just runs out of ammo with that flatline, and the wingman will win the battle up close and personal. And Knights, maybe this is their map. Maybe they do know something, because they find themselves on map point.
So close for Esports Arena to win that round, though. Skittlecakes tries to take the initiative, gets confident, and gets up close and personal, but that little bit of extra health that was on the side of Ronnie saved him in the end. And even though there was a lot of fights happening elsewhere and both teams were kind of running away from one another, re-engaging, then backing out and re-engaging once more, all that matters is that shot right there with the wingman, holding your own. Difficult to do against a flatline and against Skittlecakes of all people. The Pittsburgh Knights will be delighted that they've managed to put 2 on the board, but again, we've seen Esports Arena in these positions yesterday where they were 2-0 down and they bring it right back. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do it again, but I'd love to see Knights take a map here.
Yeah, remember that Esports Arena made a habit out of winning maps, like you pointed out yesterday, 4-2. So that's still very much on, but with this information that's being gathered here by Ronnie in the position that he does have, they should have first damage advantage. However, Ronnie has to escape because he gets some damage done to him in the back. Ronnie now having to pop that battery as Asura's trying to watch his cross for him. Noct with the wingman in hand, so a little bit of a change here in the weaponry coming in from Esports Arena. It's going to be Noct moving off of that vault and favouring the heavy gun, the wingman.
Encore's just such a different environment to the other maps we've already seen today. So much more elevation and obstacles to hide behind, especially if you're the Pathfinder, you can get on top of so many of those pillars. Knights under a little bit of pressure. Ronnie especially has to take this fight right now.
Skittlecakes. Is he going to be able to get the knock? The bubble goes down just in time, but not just in time, because Ronnie does fall. So Knights now have to try and survive, and already the push is coming in. You can see Noct is trying to swarm in alongside Duplex on that flank. The flatline in hand isn't going to be enough, and Esports Arena get their first round on the board here in our third map. And that's important for them. And for Knights, that's an opportunity missed. They're still on that point, and they need to make it count.
And you feel like we know which way this is going to go if Knights lose this round. If they don't win this 3-1, then Esports Arena, they're starting to suss out how they want to approach the map. They've realized how Knights are going to be playing, what angles they're going to be taking, and how they're going to counter them. That's something I've always credited both Esports Arena and Arena Demons throughout all of these tournaments, is their ability to react to what other teams are doing and how their playstyle is working. And even though Knights seem to have had Esports Arena's number in the early stages of this, maybe Esports Arena is starting to realize what's happening, and that's why we've seen a round finally go on the board. So Knights maybe need to pull something else out of the playbook here.
Skillcakes once again showing some fleet of foot as he charges across using that grapple, and it's a little melee on the way as well, just to give us that little cool like kung fu kick animation, which is always cool to see. Knights now trying to push to the left here, collecting some of those credits on the way to maybe thinking about using those in the next round, but they have to make it there first. Or maybe they won't be looking to use it at all, as they could close out this map, of course. Nox with those Sky Nades going to be coming in. Just to reposition just for a second to pop that battery. And this is a much, much slower pace to this round, Dan. I think Esports Arena recognizing this is an opportunity for them to throw away a map, and they don't want to let that happen.
Yeah, Knights, they were maybe a little bit quicker in the previous round, maybe taking some more aggressive angles because they had that kind of buffer. They had the extra pillow of one round, but now they can't really afford to throw this one away, and the bubble's gone down, and we are going to see Esports Arena try and push it.
Yeah, that's a great bit of recognition of numbers there coming in from Esports Arena. This should be fairly comfortable. Asura last alive, and there you go. One player just caught out. The bubble goes down to try and escape, but two players just too quick from Esports Arena, and we're tied up, and that's 2 map points now thrown away by Knights, the one thing we said they could not afford to do.
Yeah, it happened yesterday, like when Esports Arena were playing up against Mutarium. Mutarium took a 2-0 lead and they threw it away, and then Esports Arena came back and won 4-2, and it seems like the script could repeat itself here once more if Knights aren't careful. Something that we've always seen ESA do very well is jump on that single player. As soon as they can single out someone and they can just take a 2 versus 1, or sometimes even a 3 versus 1, if they are caught off guard and away from the rest of the team, they are always so quick to the punch. Whether it be jumping in the other team's bubble or utilizing their own bubble, they're always there. And if they carry on with that same aggression and that same cohesion, then Knights are in trouble here.
Havoc back in the hands of Skillcakes as well, and you can see the attachments he's got on that thing as well. He's got the turbocharger, the 2-4, so range won't be an issue. The bubble already down from Crook as well. The arc star inside, it's going to be a stick by the looks of things. That's just showboating. Defensive bombardment goes down. Skillcakes just jumps over it, and that's going to be Esports Arena with the first knock. Skillcakes now looking to make it a second as well. The man is popping off, and even though Ronnie is doing all of this damage, the last 2 players surely are going to clean this up. They do, and Esports Arena find themselves now on map point, and not only that, but series point as well.
Just so much confidence flowing through Skillcakes right now. Just Arcstar in hand. As soon as he sees that bubble, he knows he's got protection to dive and be aggressive. Because as long as he goes into that bubble, he can't be shot by the 2 players who are outside of it. And naturally, it offers such an easy stick target when it is the Gibraltar as well. We talk about the hitbox and how he is one of the bigger legends. And, you know, once the stick came through, that was probably the round over. He puts in the extra damage just to ensure that the kill would happen after the Arcstar changes. It doesn't do as much damage as it once did. Fantastically played. Match point and map point now here for Esports Arena.
The Knights are going to be kicking themselves because they've thrown away 2 map points themselves and the opportunity to send it to a map number 4, but they've got to convert here, Esports Arena, and it might be another 4-2 victory for them if they can do that. Skillcakes once again being aggressive, getting himself right towards the middle of the map as quickly as possible, and it looks like a change of pace here from Knights. They're playing right at the back of the map.
Skillcakes again trying to get the stick, and he does get a tag with the Arcstar, and that might be enough for them to push once more. Asura's going to have to dive into the void. We've got a bubble on bubble. This is tense. You know that Knights feel this is their last opportunity here.
99 damage coming in from Knock with the PK though. He's going to get the first knock, you would imagine, here. Onto Ronnie. Crook, he gets beamed as well, and the last player alive gets snapped on by Nox. That was the knocked round, and it's Esports Arena's series as they take it home. I think the Knights are going to want that one back, but what a comeback it was in that map number 3.
Yeah, it just seemed like Knights had something in those opening couple of rounds that I was thinking, all right, well, Encore might be a good map for them. It might be able to take us to Habitat for the first time, and maybe that will be their chance to really surprise us once more. But Unfortunately, Esports Arena are just too good at reacting to other teams' strategy and working out how they wanted to play that map, how they could actually counter what was going to be happening. And Taylor, I mean, it's a 3-0. It's difficult to watch if you're a PK fan or if you're a Premier fan, but ultimately we have to applaud and congratulate Esports Arena for what is once more a phenomenal performance.
Yeah, there was somebody in chat that said, you know, Pittsburgh Knights are not a bad team. You know, this trio, even though, of course, we have 2 Premier members, 1 PK member, they're still representing Pittsburgh Knights as a whole. They're not a bad trio. They're not a bad team. That's why they are here today as one of the top 8 teams. It's just ESA is on a different level, and they have proven that time in and time again. And now having knocked on the roster, they are looking just as incredible, even as more incredible than the last tournament that they competed in. Skittle Cakes, you know, we constantly talk about him nonstop, and for good reason. I find myself, like, literally picking up my jaw at times on set because of his movement, because of his ability to get those entry picks or even the entry damage. You know, I hate to put it all on him because it's not all on him. Obviously, you have to give respect to Duplex and Nox because, I mean, even Duplex at times is having more kills and more damage than Skittle Cakes. But Skittle Cakes disrupts, at least in this case, Pittsburgh Knights so well that it's hard to come back from that.
I mean, the cool thing about how Skittle Cakes is playing at the moment is it highlights why everybody missed Pathfinder in competitive Battle Royale, because it's just so fun to watch, right? The ability to grapple, the ability to get in and out of fights, the ability to take funny angles and upset your opponents. And it's not just, you know, getting into positions. Think about when that defensive bombardment came down as well, right? Skittle Cakes uses the grapple to just avoid those missiles as they come in for a few seconds to reposition. And it's just so difficult to fight against when you've got someone who is so mechanically talented. I mean, Abralele was the man who kind of was the standout Pathfinder back in the day of, you know, season 1 of Apex Legends, but now you can see why everyone loves it. I'm sure Skittle Cakes is having a lot of fun as well playing back on Pathfinder here in the Arenas tournament, and it's just a lot of fun to watch, man. Like, Path, it's still one of my favorite Legends, and I just wish it was more viable. You can see here in Arenas, it definitely is viable, though. It
is. And Gaskin, I'm going to go back to the performance from ESA and the way that they are able to adjust. I got to be honest with you, I don't know how much ESA practiced Arenas before this tournament. You know, just no way to tell because they're focused more so on BR, obviously. But it's their ability to adjust and overcome. And on Encore, I got to be honest, Gaskin, I don't think they necessarily looked too comfortable at the start, but it was their ability to just play as a team and just react to what Pittsburgh Knights was throwing at them that made them so powerful.
Yeah, it was almost like watching a team that had dropped on the map for the first time, and they were kind of sniffing it out, saying, hey, where are we supposed to go? You saw Noct get absolutely beamed in the first round because he had no clue where he was going, and he got drilled. And you've got to be so careful. Any kind of avenue you take, there's always going to be someone watching with a weapon that can kill you that quickly. So, unfortunately, the opening rounds didn't go great for them, but then they realized how PK were going to be playing it. They realized the angles they could be taking, and Skittle Cakes realized that actually he is a fearless, mad man, and he is more than happy to dive on in with an Arc Star or with whatever weapons in his hand. The flatline, it doesn't matter. He's always going to do damage, and when you've got someone that confident who's hitting their shots, then you're always going to be in a good spot.
Absolutely. Skittle Cakes is hitting those shots without question. ESA is looking like the team to beat once again. And I don't know what you could do to put them down because they're just so confident in their abilities. I think the only way to put them down is to do what, you know, Mutarium tried to do multiple times where they were up 2-0. You just got to beat them. Like, that's just the bottom line, period. Because ESA, when they get in their mind that they're going to come back, they're going to come back, and that's why they're so hard to beat. But either way, Onset Gaskin, fantastic job calling the action. We have another series coming up right after this. We're going to the bottom end of the bracket. Torrent is going to be playing against CLG. Gaskin will get to see if all the hype about Torrent was real. We had to pick a team anyways to be the favorite, and I think Torrent is one of the favorites. But how will they fare against CLG's aggressiveness? We'll find out after the break.